Good morning and welcome to Sunday's version of your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well and give you some things to think about and maybe decide about and engage in different behavior. We'll see. We'll see. Hope you all had a lovely Saturday. I spent a huge amount of time in the park looking at deer. There were so many deer yesterday, and male deer with, reasonable sized racks. It was pretty interesting. I'm like, usually we see the babies. Good morning, Abigail. Good morning, Beth. Usually we see the babies and the mamas, but not the male deer. So good morning. Everybody flying in here. Ruth Ann and Gwen, and yeah, 5 of you. Glad you're all here, if the counter's right. Never can quite trust that counter. So, welcome. Glad you're all here. And interestingly, I always believe who shows up on a particular day is who needs a particular message. And so today, good morning, Joe Neal. Happy Sunday to you. Back home, fabulous. Good. Everybody settling in. Good morning, Abigail. Welcome. And now it dropped to 4, even though I'm saying hi to more people. Whatever. Which basically says, maybe we don't rely so heavily on data. Maybe we look at other things instead. So, where we're going to go today, I want to tell you how we came about having the reading we're having today, and then the reading itself, and then a little afterword by yours truly. So, we'll see where that goes. I have a busy day today. I have 2 Zooms, one with my sister and one with a group of people that we've been gathering for over 2 years, and one of them just bought a house, so that'll be fun to hear her story about her house. And then I have a coffee date with 2 friends that I haven't seen in a long time. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome. Hello, Nancy. Hello. And Dawnine, good morning. Everybody rolling in today. This is going to be a busy day. So again, because you're here, there's something in this message that's for you. So how I picked this particular thing, I did my typical muscle testing to see which stack of cards the card deck for today was in, and it actually tested that it was none of them. And I'm like, So then I go to my old standby, outrageous openness, and sure as heck, that is where our reading for today emanates forth from. That was bad English. Anyway, so I was looking at the spine of the book, not the bound part, but the open edge of the pages, this part, and there was one part that showed up a little brighter than the rest of the pages. So I just picked something in that section, and here's what we get. It's pretty spot on for things we've been talking about, which kind of made me smile. So I was glad to hear that. So let's do a little bit of energy work just to come into the present moment. Nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Imagining roots coming down from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet into Mother Earth. Grounding you, anchoring you, making you solid on Mother Earth. And then spinning open crown chakra, allowing healing golden light to come in with every inhale. With every exhale, moving it through your body. Inhaling healing golden light. Exhaling it through your body. Down into Mother Earth, becoming this conduit for healing energy, which is a nice place to be given today's reading. So for those of you who have the book, we are on page 101, the energy vacuum. So just listen with the intuitive part of yourself that knows what you need to hear in these pages. It's a little bit longer chapter. It actually, I think, has 3 pages. Good morning, Mel. Glad you're here. Welcome. And as often is the case, there are 2 quotes at the beginning of the chapter, which always says to me, it's going to be a really good chapter. So, first quote is Aristotle. Nature abhors a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. So when we're willing to create open space, what is intended to be there will flow in. Given time, given opportunity, when there's enough space, it will flow in. Hello, hello. Glad everybody's here. The second quote is, in the United States, stuff is alive, but the people, not so much. Maria, my Mexican pal. So that's Tosha's friend Maria, doesn't see Americans as very alive. I see her point. So, again, listen with your intuitive ears. Listen with your intuitive ears. They're going to pick up something different than your physical ears pick up. What is here for you? When I teach classes in divine order, I usually suggest everyone spend the first 3 weeks cleaning out their homes and their cars, even their purses and wallets. When people let go of their clutter, the spiritual work can deeply penetrate. In fact, I'd discovered in the years of teaching that divine order simply didn't have room to fully enter until people made space. When they let go of what they didn't need, what they did could finally arrive. So each person would create an intentional vacuum. I talk about it as open space. She talks about it as an intentional vacuum. Same concept. I remember Gina, a double cancer who was a serious pack rat. Every corner of her studio apartment had dusty towers of old magazines. I've got the dusty towers of books. Yeah, so books are in the spotlight right now. We'll see what can be released. Her closets were brimming with unworn clothes, her drawers with crumpled bills and letters, but the thought of decluttering filled her with such dread, she almost dropped out of the group. I saw the same thing when I did the clutter clearing class. And so I'll put that in the feed, because my amazing virtual assistant, Morgan, turned it into an online class that people can buy. So if you're interested, I'll put that in the feed. She bravely persevered, however, calling upon the divine for assistance. She prayed to be shown what to release and what to keep. If she had relied on her ego to make that decision, she'd probably still have every moldy scrap. The idea of letting go gave her actual panic attacks, even though she was practically entombed in her own home. By the end of the class, years of old, stagnant energy had been cleared. Some friends of hers volunteered to haul away 3 full trucks of junk for her. She was amazed how much help came once she was willing to go for it. Now, this woman's work and love life had been frozen for so long it was like a cadaver. But soon, a stimulating new job arrived, and an old girlfriend she still loved returned. An amazing event. Gina even resumed exercising, which she had stopped many years before. She called me one night ecstatic. "Oh, I get it now. How could the good even have gotten in the front door? It was blocked with all the garbage." I remember another woman who had an exquisite, rare Turkish carpet left behind by her ex-husband. Yes, Morgan is amazing. Yes, she is. And if any of you need a virtual assistant, rattle my cage or Joe Neal's cage and we'll give you Morgan's contact information. She is amazing. So we're back to the rug here. Squirrel. Despite its beauty, it haunted her every day with memories of their tortured marriage. She would constantly fume. All I got from that rotten husband, or from that rotten bastard, was this frickin' rug. I laughed and suggested she let it go. When it finally sold at auction, she became almost immediately infused with an inexplicable buoyancy. She took the money and went for a week to Hawaii. She couldn't believe she'd kept that beautiful, wretched thing for so long, next to her bed of all places. I hope whoever bought it smudged it. Get rid of all that bad juju. So now this is Tosha talking. I constantly clear my own space out. Yet, I have to admit, releasing my archaic Seinfeld videos brought a pang or two. But I think I knew everyone by heart anyway. Sometimes when I sat down to meditate, that part where Jerry and Kramer put cement in their washing machine would still play in my mind all these years later. So obviously they'd already amply served their high spiritual purpose. And if I could release old Seinfeld, you could let go of anything. You don't have to release anything you use, love, or need. Just the rest of it. And and when we're honest with ourselves, the rest of it is probably the bulk of what we have. Your intuition will show you. Finally, if you're having a particularly knotty dilemma in your life, you can offer cleaning to its resolution. Recently, I was stuck in some old fear and anger, so I simply went into the kitchen and found a messy drawer. I offered its rehabilitation to the divine, affirming that as the drawer was sorted, so would I be. A half hour later, I was free. You use the external form you clean as a template for your inner psyche, and you elevate a seemingly mundane chore into the most holy offering. So many people over the years of my work as a psychologist and as a coach have engaged in this process, myself included. When I moved from an entire living space to a tiny little space in my dad's home in order to care for him, I got rid of a whole lot of stuff. I am now doing another clear, and my rule of thumb, my guiding principle, my beacon is this something I want to move? So I have this lovely bedroom set that's probably from the 30s or 40s, and it is an amazing bedroom set, and I love it. Do I want to move it? Perhaps across the country? No. So I'm believing that whatever I'm meant to have when I arrive wherever I'm meant to go next will show up. There'll be that vacuum, that intentional vacuum, bedroom furniture, and what is meant to flow in will flow in. So how you doing with this? How does this feel to you? Are there certain categories of stuff, like for me, books is it, certain categories of stuff that when you think about clearing them out, it's almost heart attack city? What for you is that thing? And most of us have at least one category, if not more. Some people it's their old love letters. Some people it's their old vehicles. Some people it's shoes. I have one friend where it's shoes and hoodies. Those were the categories where much would accumulate and needed to be cleared to make space. Sometimes it's wonderful just to enjoy the space, to allow it. Sometimes, though, kind of like for Gina that Tosha was talking about in this chapter, it's uncomfortable. Uncomfortable to the point of panic attacks. Uncomfortable to the point of, oh, I'm avoiding this. I'm not going to deal with it. See if you can breathe yourself through that. See if you can breathe with that discomfort, the fear. Books and scrapbooking items. Yeah, I still have a fair amount of scrapbooking stuff too. Interestingly, not so much the equipment, the Cricut, the whatever, but the paper. I love the paper. You know, I've got, lots of paper. So that just means I need to make more stuff so that the paper gets used up. Or invite my daughter always likes to do that. So invite my daughter over and we'll make some stuff together. Yeah, I totally get it. So, together, let us kindly and lovingly begin again, working on these things. One of the things I just noticed is I have 2 pen cups on my desk. Do I need 2 pen cups? Books and craft supplies, same thing. Yep, exactly. What about for some of the rest of you? Is it old sports equipment? Do you still have your old trophies from whatever you did? Yeah, stuff. So, together, let's link arms. Let's work our way through this. Again, if you'd like, I'll attach the clutter clearing video, and you can decide if it's helpful to have guidance of that sort. Punches and paper, there we go. Yep. All kinds of the stuff, yes. And when I go to rummage sales, what do I look at? That same stuff. No, Bonnie, you already have this. You don't need more. Swedish duck cleaning will clear you of stuff. And my vote is we want to be doing our work as we do this, because we all know from watching those hoarder shows, if you just clear somebody's shit out, but you haven't dealt with what created that situation in the first place, it's just going to recur. Do the healing work in the process. What does something mean to you? Hold it in your hands. I mean, there's the Marie Kondo version. Hold it in your hands. Does it make you feel love for it, etc., etc., etc.? And in the videos or the audios that go along with the clutter clearing class, we do that. We do the hold it in your hands, speak to it, talk to it, get a sense of, is this something that needs to stay or can it go? And there's another book that I really love called Sync Reflections. It's by Marla Cilley, Cilley, Sync Reflections. And it's basically helping people who struggle with this, including people with mental illness, depression, anxiety, whatever, to work their way through this process. And her thing is, she has 2 things. Sink reflections. Clean your sink. If you can't manage anything else, just polish up your kitchen sink. It'll help. And put on your tie-up shoes. Every day, put on your tie-up shoes. No schlepping around in your flip-flops. Put on your tie-up shoes. So, whatever method you choose to work your way through this process, just as long as it has that mental, emotional, spiritual aspect to it. You can't just do the physical piece. There's so much more to this. Our clutter represents unfinished business, right? So, when I jump back in here, and Post-it notes can't have too many. Amen. Hey, here's my little stack. Sits right on my desk, right? I had this whole bunch of Post-it notes that had been in my car way too long and got cooked by the sun, and you couldn't even really peel. Yes, the fly lady. Yes, that's Marla Cilley. Sync Reflections. Awesome stuff. Peeling them apart. They didn't peel apart anymore. I had the hardest time recycling them. It's like, Bonnie, they don't work. Recycle them. But it was like, yeah, but you know. So, I know y'all are picking up what I'm putting down here. So, let us work on this together. As we move forward, if you're having some trouble with it, if you're doing the 30 Days of Breathwork Challenge that we're doing right now, that will be helpful. You can earmark some of where you're stuck for a breath work. You know, I can't clear my books. I want guidance in clearing my books. Do a breath work, right? Yesterday, I did a wonderful breath work. Again, for those of you who have Insight Timer, it's one of the ones I just had searched for Shamanic Journey, and there were 3 different ones done by women that I picked. I've already got a couple that were done by guys, and I really like them, but I felt like this one was calling for a woman's touch. So I had picked 3 of them and saved them to my favorites, and so yesterday one of them was calling to me, and it was very helpful, very helpful. So, on that note, pick something for today. what's as something for today that you can commit to. So for me, it's going to be right after we're done here. I'm going to do my breath work, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to pick this concept from Tosha of creating that what did she call it? Consciously creating that open space. Intentional vacuum. She calls it intentional vacuum. I like open space. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Open field, whatever. So that's what I'm going to breathe for, is the willingness to allow the open space. Pick whatever you want. If you want to put it in the feed, feel free. That's awesome. We'll walk this path together. So have an awesome Sunday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.